You can play the cards first 5 minus 160. Who wants to get juicy with me? Who wants to layer the juice? I would. You like it the juice? You like it the juice? No, I like it the juice.
Just think of juice in the crickets.
Oh,
Just
Chelsea,
thinking of
God. It's gross. Trust me. I want you to try some and be like, oh, you're right. This tastes like a leg that I'm eating, a cricket leg. You don't want to do that. I would lay the juice here. I like Cardinals first 5 money line. Am I going to play it? I don't know. But Jose Quintana, Lord, my friends. Last time out against the Rays, 8 runs in 2 2/3. I will say this, and this is why I'm not going to bet it, because I said this last time out, and it's held true each and every single time. He has a great outing, and then he implodes. And right after he implodes, he has a great outing again. You look at his each and every start this season, it's really weird. It's like 1 run, 7 runs, 1 run, 6 runs, no runs, 5 runs. It's really odd. So if you follow that pattern, and it is sort of a pattern, then maybe he's in for a good start today for the Mets. I don't necessarily buy that. I would go Cards. Probably not my favorite game on the schedule, though.
Yeah, I think it's too much juice for a Cardinals team that's bottom 10 in most statistical categories. I feel like I have this view of the Cardinals like they're this juggernaut offense because usually they're just a tough squad. They're kind of like the Steelers of Major League Baseball. They've got a great fan base. Traditionally, they are very good. The franchise as a whole is very good, but still, I can't back it up with the numbers. So I'm not gonna at minus 160. So we'll move on to the next one. Or maybe you just take a look at Sonny Gray and maybe going under his earned runs prop if you don't want to trust the offense there. Speaking of good pitching, the Padres have Dylan Cease going tonight against the Cubs. He is 4-2 with a 2.55 ERA. San Diego, the favorites here, minus 120, Chicago even money. They've got Hayden Wesneski throwing, who's 2-0 with a 0.54 ERA. He has a limited sample size. He hasn't gone deep in many of these games, but he's been pretty solid. We've got a total of 8.5 here. Jenks, is there a direction that you're leaning?
Well, I kind of want to do first 5 under 4.5 at minus 115. I'm looking for a 5, but I can't find it, so I think it's going to be 4.5. And here's the thing. At some point, Hayden Wesneski is going to go back to the bullpen for Chicago, but he's been really solid as a starter. I mean, 2-0, ERA of 0.54, and his career ERA going back to last season is 3.78. He's a young guy, but since being called up, he's been very good for Chicago. We know how good Dylan Cease is. His metrics are even better than his numbers indicate. So the wind blowing in today at Wrigley, that's always a good thing. I like both of these arms. I'm thinking first 5 under 4.5 is my play.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of low-scoring games for the Cubs in this series against the Padres in their last few games. A 3-2 final score yesterday between these two teams. The Cubs winning 5-0 back on Sunday. Against the Brewers, it was 3-1. We had a 1-0 game against the Mets. So it feels like a Cubs offense that's probably going to give you very little run support. If they do, it's going to be like maybe a 4 or 5 run spot. But I do think this is a good spot for a first 5 under, especially when you have a starter for the other side, for the Cubs, that's probably not going to go deep in the game. So it's probably going to be a long bullpen experience. That's why you wouldn't go full game under. Instead, you are just looking at the first 5 and hoping Dylan Cease has yet another good start for the Padres.
If there were a player or players now, who needs a good roasting in the sports world?
Oh, there's one option for this. You need somebody who everybody knows, who the jokes are going to be good, and even the standard comedian is going to know something about. So all signs are pointing to Travis Kelce. Wouldn't this roast be absolutely fantastic? Andy Reid would probably get in with it. You have so many moments for Travis Kelce that are very roastable. Like, obviously, the big one is Taylor Swift. Like, that's the biggest and easiest target here that everybody's going to relate to. And we all had the common misery of sitting through their relationship. And then you have the other little things, like his dumb tweets about feeding a squirrel a piece of bread, the shoving of Andy Reid at the Super Bowl. How dare he? So it feels like there are so many like roastable moments for Travis Kelce. And also it feels like he's somebody who would actually agree to this. Doesn't it feel like he has such like a lighthearted mentality that he's not going to take any of this super seriously, like he's probably just going to be cutting up in the corner and drinking with his bros.
Yeah, he would love it. I put that down on my list. No question. He would be an awesome sport about it. His brother would be there.
You don't think that he would be like, you got to keep Taylor off limits?
I did think about that.
He is really...
He'd be protective.
Yeah, and you can't do that at a roast because they would destroy her even more than him. And I don't know that he could handle that.
This is when Taylor's people would step in, I guarantee, and they would say, I'm sorry, you can't do this, Travis. That's what would happen there.
Yep.
It's still
Aaron
publicity,
Rodgers.
though.
Yeah, it would be good publicity, but also not the type of publicity that Taylor Swift wants because she has an extremely curated persona, brand. Everything is well thought out. I mean, my God. They put the work into, if it's song 13, it means something. You don't think they handle every single aspect of her career? They wouldn't allow this. Aaron Rodgers, that's who needs to be roasted. Put him up there. Give him a hard time for showing his feet, his darkness retreat, his smooth hoops, all of the people he's dated. He needs a good roasting, Chelsea.
I feel like he's already been roasted. And
Has he?
I feel like he's somebody who is not going to be a good sport. Like, how many jokes have we even made at the expense of Aaron Rodgers? Like, there's got to be all kinds of people who have already roasted Aaron Rodgers, especially when you're in the biggest market in America. Like, all the headlines have already been there. So, like, I get it. There would be some really good jokes, but they almost feel too easy. Like, these are all jokes that the common folk would make, about his smooth poops. And it just feels like he's just feeding us content, but he doesn't feel like somebody who would sit there and take it.
The difference is, we're talking about professional comedians, professional roasters. So we can take hold of the low-hanging fruit and say, I'll make fun of Aaron Rodgers for this. But when you take professional comedians with no holds barred, I mean, we can only say so much on this show, right? I mean, a real roast of Aaron Rodgers would be amazing. Like Charles Barkley would be awesome to be roasted. I know Jeff Ross, he roasted the NBA on TNT Crew a few years ago, and it was amazing. My favorite line was, Kenny Smith sounds like a name that Charles Barkley would give to the cops when he gets pulled over. I'm Kenny Smith. So, I don't know. I feel like when you're dealing with pros, it's a different level, but I agree. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would agree to it, but he needs it.
Yeah, for sure. But don't we agree it has to be somebody probably in football for it to garner the networks to want it? Because that's the thing from the roast. They have been like the mega celebrities. Like, we're not doing roasts of like C-list celebrities. We are doing the biggest of big. They've done one for Peyton Manning, have they not? Or have they?
I think so. I don't know if they have or not.
Because that's the other one that would be funny.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Because who else
he'd be
would
great.
fall into this category? Like, of people who are famous enough for, like, the casual fan to get involved. Like, I guess you would go Patrick Mahomes, but I feel like that would turn, like, dark pretty quick because it would just be about his family and his wife. Patrick Mahomes would never agree to this because wouldn't half of it just be about Brittany Mahomes?
Oh, yeah. What about Clay Aiken?
Jackson? Clay Aiken?
Just
What a name. What a poll.
What's this guy? Didn't he run for office or something?
You know who would never do it, but it would be phenomenal if the comedians got a hold of him, is LeBron.
Oh, it would be good.
He would never agree to it.
He'd
never agree to it, but that would be a 10 out of 10.
Who would be awesome, too, who would never do it, is Jordan. Because
I can see Jordan doing it before LeBron did it.
He would kill somebody.
If he took things on the court personally, I can see him like being like, don't do that. Taking everything personally. Also, Russell Westbrook could never do it. This guy got in a fight with someone wearing a balloon hat. If you get in a fight at a game with someone wearing a balloon hat, you are not ready to be roasted. Like, that's the one guy, more so than Jordan, more so than anyone else, trying to roast Russell Westbrook. He would absolutely lose it and say something like, don't disrespect my name, and punch somebody out easily.